Whether it was Chandigarh in 2024, Surat a few months later, or what's happened in Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand. There are patterns in Rajya Sabha elections that no one is connecting. And honestly, it has nothing to do with which party do you support. However, it has everything to do with one basic question. How much power does one officer have to decide the outcome of an Indian election before even a single vote is cast? That's the focus of our episode today on the Squirrels. Now, under the Indian election law, the scheme of things is very clear. There is an official called the returning officer. Now, this person has the authority under Section 36 of the Representation of People's Act to accept or reject a candidate's nomination during scrutiny. You may well argue that it's a routine process, but trust me, it's not. Because when you place the last 6 years of returning officers' decisions side by side, same process, same law, same type of objections, the outcome is completely different. And this isn't just some opinion which I'm expressing here today. These are public record facts, court orders, election commission filings, exposed on video in one case. On the Squirrels, that's the reason why we always give you news that cuts through the noise. Well, let's go back to March 2020, Madhya Pradesh. Remember the Rajya Sabha elections there? 3 seats. What happened then? The Congress files an objection against a BJP candidate. The allegation is that he has not disclosed pending criminal cases in his nomination affidavit. The law requires candidates to declare this information in clear-cut terms. What does the returning officer do? The principal secretary of the MP Assembly, in this case, what does he do? He gives the candidate time. Come back tomorrow, no problem. Come back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Bring your documents. The candidate does. The objection is heard. His nomination is clear. And he ends up entering the Rajya Sabha. That's how the process worked in 2020 in the key state of Madhya Pradesh. Now in June 2026, same state, Madhya Pradesh, same election to the Rajya Sabha, same story, 3 seats. But this time, it's the BJP which is filing an objection against a Congress candidate, Meenakshi Natarajan in this case. And the allegation is that Ms. Natarajan has not disclosed a pending case in her nomination form. So what does the returning officer do now? The principal secretary of the Madhya Pradesh Assembly, well, he has the precedent of what the same office had done in 2020, but he ends up rejecting the nomination. Not the next day, not after a hearing. The nomination is cancelled during scrutiny itself. Same state, same election, same type of objection, same institutional role making the decision. Different outcomes. Now, here's where the contrast gets very sharp. In 2020, the candidate against whom the objection was raised had actual pending cases, actual criminal pending cases. In 2026, the candidate whose nomination was rejected and since has now reached the Supreme Court had received a pre-cognizance notice from a court, meaning no court had even taken cognizance yet. The state police later confirmed that no criminal case was registered against Mr. Natarajan. The candidate in 2020 had cases, he was given time. The candidate in 2026 had no registered case, she was rejected. Now, honestly, I'm not drawing any conclusion here. I'm simply placing 2 facts next to each other for you so that you can make up your mind, you can do the math. And honestly, folks, it's not just about 2020 versus 2026. It happened in the same week. So actually, I can draw a comparison between what has happened in the month of June 2026 between 2 different states. 2 Rajya Sabha nominations challenged in 2 different states. Same election cycle, same deadline, same law governing the process. In Madhya Pradesh, 1 objection raised against a Congress candidate, her nomination is rejected. In Jharkhand, 5 objections raised against a BJP-backed independent candidate. Discrepancies in his personal information, name recorded differently across documents, directorship details in companies allegedly undisclosed. 5 objections were made. Not 1, 5 objections were made against Mr. Parimal Nathwani. But what does the returning officer in Jharkhand do this time? Well, he gives the candidate 24 hours to clarify. In Madhya Pradesh, the decision is instantaneous. In Jharkhand, 24 hours to clarify. The candidate appears, submits documents, the returning officer examines each objection and clears the nomination, calling the discrepancies technical in nature. So in one state, 1 objection, immediate rejection. In another state, 5 objections, time given, nomination cleared. Same law, same election, same week, same country, just 2 different states under 2 different governments. Now, I'm not telling you what this means. I'm just telling you what had actually happened. What has actually happened. Everything I've told you so far, that's the current story. But here's why the matter actually goes beyond this election. Because this has happened before too. And what happened then tells you something about what might or what might not happen now. Let's go back to January 2024. Remember the Chandigarh mayoral election? The presiding officer in that case, a nominated councillor with affiliations to the ruling party, was caught on camera defacing ballot papers during counting. 8 votes got invalidated. The opposition alliance candidate ended up losing. The matter reached the Supreme Court, much like Mr. Natarajan's case. The court watches the CCTV footage and says, and this is from the bench by the way, this is a mockery of democracy. He's murdering democracy. These are not my words. These were the words of the Honorable Justices of the Supreme Court. The result is overturned. The defeated candidate is declared mayor. The officer is ordered to be prosecuted. He later tenders an unconditional apology to the court, and the Chandigarh Municipal Corporation changes its rules. Future mayoral elections will be conducted by show of hands, not secret ballot. Because one officer's actions broke the trust in the process itself. That was the aftermath in Chandigarh. The system corrected itself. But 4 months later, April 2024, in Surat, the Lok Sabha elections, where the BJP ended up getting 240 Lok Sabha seats, the returning officer rejects the nomination of the Congress candidate, cites discrepancies in proposer signatures. The candidate and his substitute are both rejected. Every other candidate withdraws. The BJP candidate wins the seat without a single vote being cast. No court intervenes now. No result is overturned. The Congress later suspends its own candidate, and the candidate and his proposers end up becoming untraceable. That was the aftermath in Surat. The system did not correct itself. So now, we are once again in the middle of another high-stakes Rajya Sabha election battle in June 2026. Nomination has been rejected in Madhya Pradesh. The matter is heading to the Supreme Court. And the question, which by the way is not just a political question, it's an institutional question. It's a question which should matter to you. It certainly matters to me. When Section 36 of the Representation of People's Act gives a returning officer, a single returning officer, the discretion to accept or reject a nomination, what checks exist on this discretion? In 2020, the same type of objection in the same state led to time being given and a nomination being cleared. In 2026, it's led to an immediate rejection. No independent review, no appellate layer at the returning officer's stage. One officer, one call, and the composition of the Rajya Sabha changes in entirety. This is not about who's benefiting folks this time. Political powers can rotate. The party that benefits from a returning officer's discretion today could very well end up being on the other side tomorrow. This has also happened in the past, from Chandigarh to Surat to Bhopal. The question is far more structural. Should one official, in some cases, an officer conducting elections for the first time, have the power to alter the outcome of a democratic election with no real-time oversight and no immediate institutional review? The data from the last 6 years certainly shows a clear pattern. Same process, same law, different outcomes each time. That is not partisan observation. That is a process failure. And process failures do not fix themselves. The Supreme Court hears the Meenakshi Natarajan petition now. Whether the court intervenes or not, the institutional question will remain. When the same law applied by the same institutional role in the same type of election produces opposite outcomes depending on the year, the state, and the candidate, that is not a system working as designed. That's a system that needs to be redesigned. And if this analysis makes you think not about a party, but about a process, then please do subscribe to the Squirrels, because this is what we do. We believe in bringing data before you, believe in talking about processes, accountability, no noise, no slogans. Feel free to drop your take in the comments, not which party you support, whether you think an officer should have this power. And if you want to go deeper on how India's election machinery actually works, please watch our next episode.